The arena in Atlantic City pulsed with electricity long before the opening bell, a battleground lit in gold and shadow as two of the world's finest super middleweights marched toward destiny. Andre Ward, the undefeated Olympic gold medalist from the United States, walked to the ring with quiet fire in his eyes, an image of discipline, of faith, of a man carved by sacrifice and sharpened by expectation. Across from him stood Carl the Cobra Froch, the iron-willed warrior from England, a two-time WBC champion built from grit and defiance, marching behind the roar of British fans who traveled oceans to witness their hero strike down America's rising star. When the introductions thundered through the arena, it felt less like a fight and more like a collision of philosophies. Ward's silky precision and tactical genius against Froch's ruthless aggression and unapologetic will. The referee brought them to the center, demanded respect, demanded control. And when the fighters tapped gloves, the tension tightened like a drumhead. The crowd leaned forward, breath suspended, waiting for that first bell. And when it rang, it cut through the air like a starter pistol for a marathon of heart and violence. Ward slipped into motion with calm poise, testing range with his jab, reading Froch's reactions like a scholar deciphering ancient script. Froch tried to cut the ring and impose his rugged rhythm, but from the earliest seconds, Ward's timing whispered danger, short, sharp jabs landing with a precision that made Froch blink, rethink, reset. The opening round wasn't a firefight. It was a chess match, lit under stadium lights, a story beginning to bend toward the man in white trunks, whose every move hinted at mastery. As the fight entered its middle frames, the narrative deepened. Ward, often criticized before the tournament for being too conventional or too safe, displayed layers of craft that seemed invisible until the moment they were needed. He crouched low, angled sharply to his left, and snapped crisp left hooks that found Froch's jaw with unnerving accuracy. Froch tried pushing forward behind his trademark long jab, but Ward slipped, rolled, and countered with the cold efficiency of a surgeon. In close quarters, where many believed Froch held the advantage, Ward shocked the crowd by beating him at his own game. He dug short uppercuts inside, pivoted out of danger, and constantly robbed Froch of balance before the Englishman could uncoil his heavy right hand. Every time Froch tried to bully, Ward responded with technique. Every time Froch tried to overwhelm, Ward tangled his offense in footwork and precision. Redness bloomed across Froch's nose early, a quiet symbol that Ward's jab was landing more often than the eye initially caught. The commentators noted it, the crowd murmured about it, but Froch himself felt it, felt the speed, the timing, the compactness of a fighter whose punches came sharper and faster than expected. As the rounds ticked by, Ward's momentum thickened like smoke, filling the ring with an aura of inevitability. Froch kept pressing, kept trying to answer. But the puzzle Ward presented was fractal. Every angle solved revealed a new angle forming. But Carl Froch was never a man built for quiet surrender. As the championship rounds approached, he bit down, marched forward with the stubborn pride of a fighter who had carved his career from comebacks and grit. He landed a few sharp right hands, shots that thrilled the British fans and proved that he still possessed danger in both fists. Yet, even when Froch had moments, Ward seemed to absorb them, adapt instantly, and answer with cleaner precision. In round after round, Ward's left hook became the story. A perfectly timed, compact weapon that struck Froch again and again, disrupting rhythm, breaking momentum, demanding respect. The inside exchanges became a showcase of Ward's underrated toughness. Forehead pressed against chest, arms weaving through narrow gaps, ripping body shots with the subtlety of a master craftsman. Froch swung wider, more desperate, trying to steal rounds, trying to force chaos. But Ward refused to drown in it. He dictated pace, angle, rhythm, turning a rugged fight into a lesson in brilliance. Even when Froch finally found small bursts of success, the scorecards were slipping away from him. Ward wasn't just winning rounds, he was defining them. He was shaping the identity of the fight in real time. Welding every physical exchange to his tactical vision, Froch's corner urged urgency, demanded output, called for the kind of late surge that had rescued him in past wars. But Ward was giving no such openings. By the 11th round, the stakes felt heavier than the belts on the line. Froch, swollen under the eye, breathing hard but still defiant, marched forward with the urgency of a man fighting not just for victory, but for identity. He unleashed hooks and right hands with championship desperation, trying to will a miracle into existence. But Ward, calm, composed, and razor-sharp, continued to turn his shots aside, continued to punish Froch's openings with counters that sliced through the roar of the crowd. Even in these late, dangerous moments, Ward showed discipline beyond his years. He didn't rush for a knockout. He didn't risk the unnecessary. Instead, he picked Froch apart with mature brilliance, landing combinations that echoed through the venue. Short left hooks, quick jabs, right hands that punctuated exchanges like exclamation marks. Froch kept firing, kept pushing forward with the stubborn heart of a champion. But every lunge met another Ward counter, another reminder that tonight belonged to a different kind of fighter. Ward's defense, his footwork, his angles, everything worked in harmony as he closed a performance that would become the centerpiece of his legacy. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't wild, he was simply exceptional. And with every minute that passed, the outcome became clearer. Froch needed something monumental, and Ward was giving him nothing. When the final round sounded, the arena rose to its feet. Froch charged with the pride of a warrior who refused to accept defeat quietly, throwing hooks, overhands, anything he could muster. But Ward met him with brilliance, slipping, countering, digging shots to the body, landing compact left hooks that snapped Froch's head back one final time. The crowd roared through every exchange, knowing they were witnessing the coronation of a new super middleweight king. When the final bell rang, Ward raised his gloves, not in arrogance, but in exhausted fulfillment of a dream forged through years of sacrifice. Froch nodded, acknowledging the mastery he had faced. And then came the announcement, slicing through the noise of the arena. A unanimous decision. All three scorecards in favor of Andre S.O.G. Ward. The American prodigy had completed a 2-year journey through the Super 6 tournament and emerged not only champion, but a generational talent. As Ward stood in the center of the ring, bathed in the glow of victory, fans understood they hadn't just seen a win. They had witnessed a masterpiece of boxing intelligence, a performance carved into the story of the sport, and the night when Andre Ward truly became one of the elites of his era. The echoes of the decision had barely settled before the deeper meaning of the night began to sink in. Andre Ward wasn't just the winner. He was the architect of a performance that redefined what mastery looks like inside the squared circle. Cameras flashed as he stood tall with both the WBA and WBC titles resting against his chest. But beneath the gold, his expression held something quieter. The calm satisfaction of a man who had trusted the process, trusted the grind, trusted the lonely hours in dark gyms when no one was watching. Around him, voices blended, commentators praising his accuracy, fans marveling at his adaptability, critics acknowledging that their doubts had been answered with overwhelming clarity. This was a fighter who could brawl in the trenches, dance on the outside, counter with precision, or take control of a fight with subtle adjustments so small they could be missed by the untrained eye. Tonight, every one of those qualities had been on display. Froch, for all his courage, had been outthought, outtimed, and outclassed. Ward's story was no longer about potential, it was about reality. And as he embraced his trainer, Virgil Hunter, a silent understanding passed between them that this was the night the world finally saw the fighter they had always known he could be. Meanwhile, Carl Froch, bruised, exhausted, but unbroken, absorbed the moment with the warrior's dignity that had defined his entire career. He hadn't come to America to survive. He came to win, and even in defeat, he carried himself like a champion forged in steel. In the post-fight glow, he spoke with raw honesty, acknowledging Ward's superiority while refusing to diminish his own spirit. Froch had been here before, on the wrong end of tough nights, only to rise again and rewrite his story. As he stepped out of the ring, the British fans saluted him with chants that thundered across the arena, a reminder that boxing's beauty lies not only in victory, but in resilience, in heart, in daring to challenge greatness even when the odds are long. And for Froch, this loss wasn't an ending. It was the beginning of the next chapter, one that would shape him just as profoundly as his greatest wins. But tonight belonged to Ward. As the lights dimmed and the cameras rolled away, the narrative of the super middleweight division had forever changed. A new king had been crowned, a new era had begun, and the story of Andre Ward, scholar, fighter, champion, was just getting started.